cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Hello.
Oh God, there we go. I can see you.
My God, we're all here. Yeah, I'm a bit big.
All of us.
Yeah, all of us.
Exciting.
Right.
It's
exciting.
exciting.
Ben, tell me what's happening, mate.
What do you mean what's happening? A lot's happening. A lot's happening, John. Where would you like me to start?
I don't know.
I'll tell you where I'm going to start. We'll start on a bit of news from today, and I'm not sure we can be too funny about this because in Croydon today, a 15-year-old girl was she lost her life on a bus at the hands of a young boy, and from what I can understand, this 17-year-old...
God, this is a sad one. I mean, this is a sad one. I'm going to cry if you keep going on like this. Go on,
we've got to get the somber stuff out of the way with first.
Yeah, we do the somber stuff first. So, come on, Ben. Spit it out.
This 17-year-old boy allegedly tried to give her flowers, and in rejection to those flowers, because the girl rejected them, he then pulled out a bladed object and ended her life.
Well, actually, I think there was slightly more to it than that, because I believe that they were already going out, and she'd told them that she didn't want to go out with him anymore. Rejection.
Kind of. I mean, if you look at it, she was both right and she was both wrong. Yeah, because she was right, definitely not to want to be with him. She was wrong to not fear for her life by the sound of it. Fucking hell.
Well, I don't think, man. I don't know how you paint it, Johnny. You can't say she was wrong. I mean,
no. I mean, she was
dead.
No. I mean, the girl. Don't be. I mean, she was just like, no, she wasn't wrong at all.
Yeah. No,
she was right to know not to be with him. But I mean, you sometimes, if you have a psychopath, it's best in public, when you're in public with them, to be like, hey, all right, then I'll take those flowers. I remember a woman I knew who her boyfriend came to the house, and he stabbed himself in the arm and did all of this stuff and etc. But just before, she had carefully said to him, all right, calm, don't worry, I'll talk to you and I'll calm down, and managed to get back and lock the door. But in that situation, if you're on a bus, I mean, the fact is that love is horrible, it's cruel, and it's awful. Yeah. And when you're young, you're likely to do the most awful things, man. Yeah. The most awful things. If you've got a broken heart, I screamed around the place through my life when I was young, like everybody does when you're in love. So yeah, that's sad, man. That's a terrible story to start on.
Yeah,
terrible.
Well, yeah. But we've got, I tell you what, I've got another story that we'll do then, since things are going badly to start with. What about the daughter of the British couple who got her parents' remains back from Egypt? They both died on holiday and found that their organs are missing. And that's the thing is, this isn't an isolated incident, because apparently there was another British tourist had died a couple of months ago, and he came back minus his heart and kidneys.
Look, it's from Egypt, you say?
This is from Egypt, yeah.
Were canopic jars involved?
Don't start. I'm just trying to figure out if Ed was there at the time of the first one going missing.
Oh, he might have been, actually.
I don't know what all of this is, but obviously someone's been stealing some bits from somebody.
Well,
it sounds like it.
In culture, when somebody died, or at least someone of prominence, they would remove the organs and place them within canopic jars, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, were canopic jars involved here? This is Egypt, after all.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about pre-dynastic Egypt with, pharaohs and stuff like that. I think Egypt's moved on. Well, have they moved? Well, they have moved on a little bit. They've moved on a little bit, haven't they? Come on.
I mean, the problem is all of these things are going to be run like private healthcare systems all around the place. Well, what type of healthcare is Egypt got? Is it socialized? If it's socialized, do they make money from selling hearts and livers and lungs? And then if that's the case, then if you think that they're just going to take them home and bury them, then, there's loads of countries. Every country in the world will try and do something terrible, but organ harvesting is like, it's money. It's money. That's all it is. It's like people see a dead person as different from a live person anyway, and what they can do and what they, as soon as you're dead, it's like, oh, fair game in some countries. Take a couple of bits of you there, and that was probably the same in Egyptian times when they were putting them in jars. They were like, oh, well, maybe if I just take a little bit of this and that beforehand, stick it in a jar, stick it home on the shelf, and be like,
stick it on the frying pan, stick it, a little bit of liver and onion for dinner.
Placenta with a little Chianti or whatever. Oh no, liver, wasn't it?
It's some fava beans.
Yeah, that's right, and a little kid. Yeah.
Right, okay, so shall we move away from it was supposed to be a bad experience, but so questions are being asked, and apparently the British government's trying to cover it up as well. Shh, don't ask questions. Right, but I tell you what, Ben, tell me about the schools, since that's the theme of the night, because we had a little conversation yesterday.
Twitter. I wouldn't call it a conversation.
Is this on my lens, or is it on my... this is...
fine.
No,
you look lovely. You look like you're the least likely person to be an organ harvester.
Well, I have been accused
Actually, that's a lie.
Actually, Johnny, I don't know if you know, but
you have been accused of organ harvesting.
No.
But when I was being doxxed and trolled and things like that for doing my old antics,
they revealed that I was.
They tried to link John, because he was working with me, to someone of the same name who did arms dealing in Saudi Arabia.
I'm a Saudi Arabian arms dealer.
Saudi arms dealer.
Well, okay, this it's a dangerous thing to be. You remember Jeffrey Epstein was basically a Saudi Arabian arms dealer at one point. He had the Saudi Arabian passport and everything.
Yeah, tell me about it. No, I know nothing about it. I know nothing about it.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I remember Epstein well. Is that what you're going to say? Where were you during Iran-Contra? Anyway, John, where were you?
No, I was here.
Okay, here.
I was armed. I was armed, though. I'll give you that, because we were armed all the time during the. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it's all right. Never mind. Right. Okay. Let's move on. Burger King.
We're talking about schools.
Oh, you're gonna talk about the school then? Hurry up. Tell me. Oh, your audio's gone.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but you started talking and nothing was coming out.
Right, well, I pushed back against Britain's strictest head teacher, Catherine Burblesing, on Twitter, or on X, because she was saying some shit about, there's X amount of hours in the evening, your kids can do 1 hour of homework every night, and I simply made a point that, I'll paraphrase, that perhaps your kids could do 1 hour of homework tonight, but the homework that you're sending home, I, as a parent and the ultimate authority over my child, may not find suitable or appropriate, and there may be something else that I could do with them for an hour that would still provide a learning experience, but one better for the real world than what you would like to provide them.
Yes, but my point then was, if they're sending homework home that you don't think's appropriate, why have you even got them in school? Because they'll be teaching it anyway.
Oh, right. Slippery slope.
And at that point, you said, this is a nuanced conversation that needs more than just text.
Yes, it needed more than just a tweet. Yeah. Because I do have...
So go on, elucidate us. Enlighten us.
Well, first of all, I don't think that the national curriculum is fit for purpose.
Okay.
Oh my God! Okay, sorry.
It's like having a Joe Rogan, watching the UFC. Anyway, right, carry on.
Go on. Tell me.
I don't think the national curriculum is in any way fit for purpose as it stands. I think it's been infected and infested with ideologies which absolutely shun the idea of reality, let alone other things. And I also believe as the ultimate, second of all, I pay for the schools. Third of all, well, we through any kind of taxation that we have, we're paying towards that schooling system.
Okay.
VAT.
Yeah. Okay, carry on.
And third of all, I believe that still, as a parent, I have the final say and authority over my child and what they learn and consume.
That's a killer. Yeah. That's a killer line.
However, can I just say, have you finished? Have you more?
Oh, I can go.
No, well,
tell me what you want, and then I'll go.
I'm not gonna. All I'm just gonna say is, but you still like them as babysitters, don't you?
Fuck yeah.
Gets them out your hair for 8 hours or 7 hours or 6 hours or how long they're at school these days.
But regardless, that doesn't then give them the authority over me to tell me what my child should do, especially outside of those hours.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They've been doing this for a long time, though. They've been doing this for a long time. This is just like an agenda that's gone on for years and years. And what you're seeing here is the end of a long takeover of the schools. It's been going on, and now it's like send them home. That's what they really want. You're
exactly right, because what were schools for, Johnny? They were designed to teach you how to work in the factories. Because they were set up exactly the same way. The buildings looked exactly the same as factories. They got you in, they set you down at your little workstation, and you worked away all day, had your lunch, worked away for the afternoon, and then went home. And that's exactly what they were doing.
There's also the connection with, because really the men of the mortarboard, as they called historically, the people who were running the schools, basically were the ones who were able to select the people who would go into society to be all of the big positions of power. Yep. So the professors and the teachers have such an influence on direction that you found in the 1850s onwards. I've covered this end also in the 1950s onwards with things like Kissinger's International Seminar and stuff. They're training leadership groups actually inside universities, so they're just going to implant into people into different countries, and that leads on to like young global leaders and all of this stuff. That comes because education, you get in at that level, that's it. You've taken over the world. You take over the kids, you take over the world.
The long march to the universities, but we're talking about us, the plebs. You know, we're not going to be picked for global leaders. We're just going to be used as
they mapped that out through the 70s and 80s. So they mapped that out really well. And there's like and it all really a lot of what I've read originates from Harvard during this period, where a lot of the real great thinkers were tasked with basically making us dumber, the plebs dumber, and keeping us in what they said in a 1967 policy document by Herman Kahn that was written for the State Department during the time where Kissinger and Nixon and people are around there. They basically mapped out that what we need is to train all of the leadership group outside the rest of it, and the rest of it is to learn how to be administrators, how to be the assistants to the people who run society. So they get to decide out of their groups from the richest universities and only the top of the others where someone goes. But most of what the education system's there to teach is you how to work, just like you say. But they've also, since like when I was young, I'll give you a bit of my age away. I remember being 5 years old. I think it's 5 or 6, and they're telling us in class 2 in St. Monica's school that we would no longer be learning about Romans. We'd no longer be learning about the Greeks and philosophy and those stories. Instead, we'd learn a different curriculum. And there was a change through the 70s and 80s where they decided to redesign the curriculum to make it so that we don't understand how to use logic, like how to use basic logic, because all of the things that they've taken out of our societies, and they only teach to those in the bigger schools, in the richer schools, in the private schools, is about that, is how to use philosophy to understand when something is false, even though it looks true, because that's what the ancient people learnt. They learnt to recognize falsehood from just speech and from what you say.
I think I must have done all right, because I had a philosophy class at school. So you
were in school in 1925, John.
Not quite, but it was the 70s and 80s. But philosophy. I did philosophy at secondary school. I also did Latin. I also did physics, chemistry, and biology. And my favourite subject was modern studies. Because the teacher was really switched on and made us think, and and made us question things. Because he would go through things like the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Gulf of Tonkin and all that, which turns out to be a real live conspiracy theory.
By the time I got through to like 93, where you're choosing options to go towards GCSEs, all of those things that you said there were no longer on my curriculum or available to me in my school. I wasn't able to do philosophy or anything like that. They took that out during the 70s and 80s, and it was a progressive sort. You can't just snatch out these things. It had to be a slow change, but it was a really well designed and really, I mean, you can read it all. It's all mapped out how to change society so that we only learn so much, and then what we do not know, which leads around to slowly turning into an Orwellian 1984 society.
Yeah, having said that though, I mean, I think I probably learned more on my own than I ever learned in school.
Well, I think just going on from what you said there, Johnny, I think we are seeing the final stages or logical conclusion to the people that initially went through those universities and did what they did, because the people who were, the students back then who have bought into these, like you say, Orwellian ideologies, are now running our institutions, not just the universities, but they are, the heads of Ofcom here in the UK. They are running our institutions, and they are taking full control of what you can say, what you can't say, not just in a broadcast sense. We're seeing laws, things like Orwellian things like hate speech written into law, something that can never be fully explained as to what it actually is or defined, because it will change by whoever is in charge, first of all. But second of all, the way the laws are written are so insane that they say that it's down to the perception of the perceived victim rather than your own intent, which is terrifying. I
know. I listen. I got just mention on that point. Like, I got a friend I know who went out with a girl in a university he was working at.
Hold on. Hold on. Julie in the chat has just said she did Russian at school.
Whoa!
She's a spy.
Oh, wait.
Russian.
Oh, I won't even. Definitely can't talk about that right now.
Sorry. Carry on, Johnny. Sorry.
Where was I? What was I going on about?
You were going on.
Mate who went out with a girl at school.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, but he was working at university. He went out with a girl who was a student there. She wasn't like 18, 19. She was like 21, 22 or something. And because they were having a consensual relationship, that meant that people complained because they didn't like it, because they found it creepy. They find it weird. And it's like, now you can't, like, they set up this, it's really weird what the university, and this is really interesting. University had like, I won't say which university it is, but the university had a bit of a, like sort of a crisis. It had an allegation against it. It seemed to have covered it up, and then it got in trouble for doing that. And so they set up a body to look at these sort of things. And what the body does is inspect a load of students who will come back and turn around and say, oh, I find this uncomfortable, and I find this uncomfortable, and I find this uncomfortable. And what is uncomfortable becomes abuse and becomes other things. It's like it's slowly.
Call it Title 9.
Well, Title 9. That's a good name for it, because it sounds Orwellian, doesn't it?
You're very quiet.
We got a Title 9, boys. Take him to the burner.
In the US, they call it Title 9, and each university has a Title 9 committee. And if you want to make allegations which should be criminal in nature, instead of going to the cops, you go to the Title 9 committee, and these people are not qualified in any way, shape or form to investigate anything or find you guilty of anything.
All of these things just let down victims, because at the end of the day, it conflates what you feel uncomfortable with what is actually victims, man. There needs to be some form of something for the victim. So there needs to be a process. There needs to be something where you approach, because I promise you, every institution will cover up the shit. Every single one of them will try. Every single one will say they won't, and every single one will. I've been locked in rooms. And threatened in like big hotel chains and stuff not to say anything about this, or not to do this, or not ever to do this again, and etc. In a way that is obviously not something was written in the contract. The door gets locked and everything gets said behind closed doors. You're not allowed to talk about what you just saw there, or you're not allowed to talk about what you see there. That happens all around the place, and you don't even realize that people are like some people are endemically corrupt. They feel corruption. They do corruption because it's the natural, logical step to get to the easiest step to the next step, and so they just indulge and indulge and indulge. And after a while, they don't even see it themselves. They just say, "To stop me getting trouble, to get me in trouble, I will cover this up or cover that up," and that does really have a massive problem. So there's two problems. There's somewhere in between. This is always the way. Somewhere in between that Title IX and what existed before is the actual answer,
So in conclusion, fuck the national curriculum.
Yeah, well, right, okay, I kind of picked that up from you. So it's Espresso Mechanic says he used to teach, so it'd be quite interesting to find out from him what he thinks of this. You can drop us a line or a comment. Don't feel that you have to do it right now. So drop us a line.
If he wants
to
come on my podcast, he can talk to me for an hour and a half about what it's like to teach.
Yeah, but you'll be sitting there having been spoke at.
No, I don't mind about that.
By a teacher. No,
that's all right. I'm used to that.
I meant poor Espresso Mechanic would be getting spoke at by Johnny.
It's a two-way conversation, 50-50. What can you do?
Right, shall we move on? Burger King facing boycott after pulling its ads from Rumble.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? Not just Burger King, but HelloFresh and someone else, another company have as well.
But nobody buys stuff from HelloFresh. They wouldn't notice a boycott, would they?
I mean, you've got a point, but unfortunately, I think a company like Burger King versus a boycott from customers of a company like Rumble are going to be just fine.
Yeah. You think? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because Rumble is saying they've got 44 million active users. Okay.
That's not a lot.
They're saying
they say a lot of things, don't they?
The thing is, they're saying 44 million, and I don't think 44 million is a lot in this day and age.
The big problem is that Peter Thiel, he creates this platform, helps put it up, and at the same time he's creating the infrastructure to completely chain us with Palantir. It's the worst thing ever in the world ever. Yeah. And the same guy who's taking all the data and putting all the videos in one place over here is going to be the same one who created. I think I smell a rat, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Big one. There's something about Rumble that, I mean, it is a publicly traded company, just like Google and YouTube, and that is very interesting to me because they are at this time saying they're not going to censor anybody or censor anything, but at some point the shareholders may demand it, and then what do they do?
Well, it depends how often do you have a shareholder meeting. So if you have one every 2 years. The shareholders might have
snitches though. The Rumble's a snitch. It's a snitch platform. I uploaded a video to Rumble that had been up on my YouTube for a year. It said, "Put in your YouTube handle," and for some reason I put in my YouTube handle. Yeah. But this proof. No. This is proof. Look at this, right? It's been up there for a year. It's the interview with, I think it's with the Ryan the Fulmick one. And I put it up on Rumble and put in the thing, clicked it. And as soon as I clicked it, I got the email come through from YouTube that I've got a content strike on that video. Straight away. It informed Rumble informed YouTube, who then gave me a content strike because they would have looked at the description, I suppose, and I was freer and with the description in Rumble, but Rumble's snitching on you because Rumble's a snitch platform. It's a snitch platform. I swear to God, that's the best way to describe it. It's a bunch of snitches. Peter Thiel, like Palantir, will be used for nearly everything. Schools, police, hospitals, every single service will use Palantir. It will have data points on almost everybody, and it's the technocrats, or we should probably start calling them technorats, who are the ones who are going and like creating all of these platforms to funnel people in, and they can buy. You can be the people in between can be true. Russell Brand can care about what he's saying. Kim Iverson can care about what she's saying, and all of these different things. But they go to the top of this pile, funnel everybody in, and then it's snitch time, snitch galore. Let's change the rules.
I'm done. I'm fuck it. I'm just putting up cat videos from now on. It's a lot easier.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, that's.
I mean, it'd definitely be a lot easier for all of us, and we'd probably make more money out of it because you know, let's face it, this is a thankless profession. It is a thankless profession.
Cat and dog videos.
And it's thankless. It's thankless not falling in line with either extreme, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you sit in the middle, they call you too fucking reasonable. And they don't want anything to do with you because people today want sensationalism. They want sensationalism from one extreme or the other because that's what social media has engineered them to want. And that's...
There's not only sensationalism, there's someone who's got to bring them that sensationalism, and they've got to make them into heroes. So they bring you sensationalism, and then they are the purveyors of all information because they're giving you a little bit of truth over and over again. That's repeated. It's such a trope.
That's why people don't like us. That's why they don't like us.
When I was making my bombastic
videos.
Here we go.
Here's other reasons.
Sorry,
the Union Jack in the background.
Conversational narcissist Ben. Come on, Ben. Bring on Dan.
I'm just making a good point here because when I was making my bombastic sensationalist videos at the places where I would go, which I can't name on this platform, I was getting 8 to 10 million impressions a month on Twitter.
Yeah.
Now I'm
72,000 or something.
Yeah, 72,000 a week at the moment.
Yeah.
But now I'm not doing that. Now I'm trying to be reasonable. Now I'm trying to look at everything from a rational point of view and try and rationalize everything. Nobody wants to know. They don't. And see, the problem is we keep telling people that there are no heroes, there are no saviors, and obviously they believe us. Yeah.
We are all humans here. We are all humans. Even us right here now. We are all humans. We are all, you put enough pressure on any of us in the right angle, and we will be in a state of confusion, shock. We won't be able to do things properly. We'll make really narrow decisions all of a sudden. You know, pressure, stress, all of that stuff leads you to do things that you think beforehand, oh, I would always stand up to this, or I would always stand up to that. But we're humans. As soon as you add the pressure on, everything changes. Everything.
So let's move on. What about Fox and Wooten then? We've got to talk about them.
We got to go there, haven't we?
As long as there's no more schoolgirls getting killed on a bus, you bastard. That would be that suits me fine. That suits me fine.
Well, we did deal with the real world as well, Johnny.
Oh, that was dark, man. That's such a dark place.
Well, let me see what else we've got that's dark. Carry on, right? Oh, there's one you'll like later on to do with dogs.
GB News has been trending all friggin' day. It's trending right now, in fact, right?
Right.
Because of this,
GB News.
Yeah.
You say.
Yeah. Because of this statement that Lawrence Fox made last night about a woman called Ava Evans, where he said, what was it? Something along the lines of he didn't want to sleep with her. And I'm paraphrasing because...
Shagger. Oh, yo, sorry. I'm not allowed to say.
Fine. It's fine it. Because you're not saying it. We're just reporting on it. But he said he didn't want to shag her. Something she regularly says to people on Twitter, by the way.
A lot.
Yeah, but I don't believe him.
Yeah, I don't believe
zero belief because she's hot. She was hot. It's like it shows that GB News are full of crap. That's what it shows because he is there lying, and it's a state of hypernormalization where we get on side with the idea of what he's saying.
I need to make stipulations, though. ball gagging from behind.
Are you talking about Lawrence Fox now?
Oh, thank you, Robin.
Welcome to the
Because
dark
I
side
can
5.
promise you, I wouldn't shag him.
Thank you, Robin. We appreciate that. We just got a
never
donation.
Say never, because you don't knock anything till you've tried it, Johnny. But
Okay. I'll shag Lawrence Fox if you want me to shag him.
Oh, come
my
on!
God,
I'm sure you
they're
could
not
do
even into men.
You could do better than Lawrence Fox. He's a bit crinkly, isn't he? He looks like he needs a good iron.
Eventually, you've got to try something different. That's what they say. So you know.
Don't you think that these people, they all seem to go down this weird path? It was like our Monday show. There was like the gay Roman Catholic sex orgy, you know, where they used and abused a sex worker to the point where the guy lost consciousness and had to be medically evacuated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is what goes on in the real world.
Anyway,
I'm glad I'm not in there. It's a devastating place.
Lawrence Fox and Martin Branning, I mean Dan Wootton, have been suspended.
I think we're going to have to just pull this one after it's
Dan
finished.
Wootton got it too, did he? Dan Wootton.
Yeah, Dan Wootton's gone as well.
Yeah, wait though, you know, I mean it's so easy for a news company to be like, well, he's pretty low in the ratings and people don't like him very much and everybody says bad things about him, so maybe we can use this excuse to get rid of him.
But Lawrence Fox,
because I think that's probably
Lawrence Fox sold him right down the river because he tweeted out the messages that he'd been exchanging with Dan.
Yeah. After the fact.
Oh my God!
And Dan was laughing. Dan was laughing about it. They'll be bricking themselves in the control room. Ho ho ho.
No,
they're bricking themselves now. Dan, what are you doing?
Oh man, that's cringeworthy.
Yeah.
He's sitting at home right now, not on air tonight.
Yeah, well, he'll be watching us. He'll be going, those bastards, they got it in for me. What's up, Ben?
Anyway, so yeah, Martin Branning's off the air.
Who is Martin Branning? It's a bit like John Galt.
Dan Wootton, Martin Branning.
Yeah, well, allegedly.
In my opinion.
For legal purposes. Right, sorry.
I have no idea who this guy is. And the loss to me is minimal.
Martin Branning is a figment of Dan Wootton. Is possibly a figment of Dan Wootton's imagination, who was used for some, we say...
That's brilliant. I've always been into figments of other people's imagination.
But he was used for, shall we say, sexual shenanigans.
Not just shenanigans, but extortions.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
Mr.
Where are
Branning allegedly paid up to £30,000 to get photos and videos of people in compromising positions.
Well, there seems to be a regular theme. There seems to be a regular theme around the place with bad people. That's what it seems to be.
It's a big club.
But, you know, it's... I thought I do one type of work where I go into something which is really, really horrible and terrible, and I catch really horrible and terrible people doing really horrible and terrible things. And sometimes you at the start you think, okay, you've got a choice: either you do it properly or you are a complete criminal. And you've got to completely say be one or the other, because there's no in between with these things. If you've got to do something the right way and you've got to be good about it, then you've got to overcome all of the rest of stuff. So you can tell a bad person straight away by extortion and all of that sort of stuff. And you know, people are always so binary in their choices when it comes to good and evil. At the end of it,
see, this is where I get into trouble for this, don't I, Ben? Because I sometimes put the other point across, and people call me all sorts of things.
So go on, do it here.
You know, but when I make excuses for people, well, not excuses, but when I try and point out, you know,
when you play devil's advocate.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, you know, Prince Andrew didn't commit any crime in the UK. He's not a pedo here. You know, and you say that, and people go, "Oh, you're just supporting pedos," you know. And then you say, you know, what's his name? The guy that was alleged. Well, Brand, for instance. Okay, he had sex with a 16-year-old. Yeah, and so what? It's legal, you know.
Yeah, I'd like to see the law. I'd like to see the law changed. Right?
That's exactly what we said.
If it keeps shocking you and it keeps making you feel icky, or making loads of us feel icky inside, what does that mean? Because it's really hard. Like the idea of I don't know how many like around this area. I meet loads of 16-year-olds, and they are kids. I've not met a 16-year-old who acts like an adult ever. I've met 18-year-olds who are getting there.
Yeah.
I met 20-year-olds who were almost there, but 16-year-olds never. They're always kids, man.
I would say somebody posted a meme the other day, and it was like a guy. It was a kid smoking a cigarette and a guy age 30 smoking a cigarette or something like that. And the meme was Gen Xers, you know, born at age 30, still think they're 30, you know? And really, when you were growing up in the 70s and 80s, kids were a lot older than they are now. I mean, when I lived in Hong Kong, I used to travel 5 miles on my own at the age of 12, right across Hong Kong to go karting. I would do it on my own. I'd get a bus and a ferry and then another bus. And never get
dark shit.
You know,
yeah, but there was there was dark shit going on back then. I spent all my time.
Yeah, that was the time. I spent
all my time looking at all of the dark shit that was going on back then, and more you find, find that people didn't know what their kids were doing.
Well, I mean, we knew what they were doing, but and this is going to sound crazy, but see if you were a certain colour in Hong Kong, because it was the British Empire, and if you were a certain colour, the Chinese wouldn't touch you because they knew better. Yeah. And that you know, it just sounds crazy, but that's how it was.
Like being Welsh in Bristol.
Yeah. It's like being Scottish in Eastbourne.
Yeah. They're all afraid of him. They're all afraid of him.
Eastbourne, you live where Dr. John Bodkin Adams killed all the women.
Yeah, I live
in
all patients. Yeah. That's where he killed all the 150, 130, maybe up to 160 women. And Theresa May's father worked with him as a chaplain in the hospital, Eastbourne Hospital, during that time.
Bloody hell.
We also have claim to fame of being one of the, if not the world's most famous suicide spot. BG Head.
I mean, that's depressing as well.
You're laughing.
I'm laughing right now. Yeah, but I mean, I everything's depressing at the moment. It's got to the point where it's like, what can I do?
Man.
Good grief. Right, okay, let's move on.
Okay. So let's leave suicide spots behind.
So the European Union has said that Twitter, or X if you want to call it that, is the platform with the most prevalent disinformation on it.
Oh my God!
They really want
responded to it today, didn't he?
They want Rumble gone. They want Twitter gone, don't they?
Yeah, but Elon Musk responded to it today. Did you see his little video about disinformation?
No, I didn't. What did he do? Tell me.
I can't say on this platform.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was about. He posted a compilation of articles about a certain medication and what was initially said about what this certain medication can
right,
do.
Yeah. And then what? Well, even the Mayo Clinic says it can be used for it now. The Mayo Clinic says it's a treatment for certain things.
Well, no, what I'm saying, no, not that medication.
Oh, right.
Certain medication that everybody was forced and coerced into getting, and whether or not it could prevent certain things.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, well, okay. Well.
So he's posted a little video, and he's called it disinformation.
I should definitely not say anything.
You want to
right
hear
now,
disinformation? That's not the 1 in 20, is it?
But my question is this: what metric are they deciding what is and is not disinformation by? I can tell you the answer because it's kind of a rhetorical question, but the answer is whatever the fuck they decide, right?
Right. Well, let's move straight into the next item then. UK.
Well, I was going to say there is actually someone keeping that metric, and that's Edelman PR with the right-hand man of Klaus Schwab and
right. So what about malinformation then?
Is this a new word?
Yeah, well, this is a new one. Malinformation, the independent.
Mal comes from black. It's Old Scottish. It's in Old Scottish.
Or does it come from the French? As in malady?
Blackmail was actually the black part come from mal as well. It's actually black. I did a load of research on the Epstein 101. Yeah, it's blackness is really kind of the thing it comes from. Stop
talking shite. Stop talking shite, and we'll move on. Right, so UK.
You should know. It's in your country. You should know about Scottish law and history.
I know about Scottish law. UK independent journalists arrested for malinformation. You sent this to me, Ben.
It's not me, is it?
No, it wasn't. The guy was fucking swatted while he was doing his podcast.
Do you know what? I was surprised.
He was on the podcast and there's chap. It's a VPN. No, it's not the VPN police. It's the information police. And bang.
I'm surprised this wasn't the UNM boys, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it wasn't them.
I'm very surprised.
So he goes and answers the door while his co-host or whatever's having a conversation, much like this would be. You know, if I disappeared, you could say he's been swatted, right? So he goes to answer the door. The police go, we want to invite you to come for a chat. And he says, well, I don't want to come for a chat. And they said, well, okay, you're under arrest. And they took him for a chat.
So his name is Warren Thornton. He was hosting an edition of his webcast, The Real Truth, on the evening of Sunday, September 24th, when the police officers knocked at his door. The video blogger has been critical on social media of NATO support to Ukraine with its conflict in Russia. He'd also helped expose the dark past of the 98-year-old Ontario resident Yaroslav Honka, who was given a standing ovation in the Canadian House of Commons, but last week during a speech by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the invitation of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. It wasn't at the invitation of Trudeau. It was at the invitation of the Speaker.
Who has resigned. Who has since resigned.
He has resigned.
Yeah. Not Trudeau, the Speaker.
But, yeah, so this guest, Fiona Ryan, recounted how Thornton vanished 20 minutes before the show ended, as she was talking with fellow guest Johnny, host of the Cafe Revolution YouTube channel based in Donetsk, in the front line of the conflict with Ukraine. So he was giving information of, I guess, about this Nazi in the Canadian Parliament. And as he's speaking it live, the police show up on his doorstep and go, "We want to check your thinking. You're coming with us."
So he was released. Ultimately, he was released without charge the following day, right? So he was released without charge or caution or bail or anything. Okay, so he's out. He's free to go. He was informed that what he was doing was giving out malinformation, which apparently appears to be. He gave out the correct information, which was absolutely correct, but it didn't quite tie in with how they wanted the narrative to run. So
that's what my journalistic career is.
Yeah, exactly.
That is terrifying.
That's the online safety bill for you.
Yeah. Well, I would. The police. I deal with the police because I do police auditing as well. I have. So I get up close and personal with the police, and they are just grunts. They are like the majority of it is they turn up and they make the wrong decisions, and then they do.
I've been on bail for a year and a half. I'm still on bail right now for being assaulted by police.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that sounds like the police. Yeah, that sounds like the police. That last time I went to a protest, I went to a 15-minute city. A 15-minute city, is that what they call them? Yeah. Protest and went under the subway, and I was recording it all. It's all on camera. I'm in with the group, and we go. Everybody walks through, and they formed a line in front of me. Just me. I wasn't allowed to go by. Everybody else went by, and for some reason they just wouldn't let. So I got like this whole. Everybody's being let backwards and forwards, but they just won't let me go. And I know it's facial recognition.
Yeah.
And I know that they pings because of my journalism or whatever else that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so they detain me for as long as possible without detaining me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they always get told to release me, it seems. So I'm expecting the police to come round and start talking to me about the same thing at some point. And I think most journalists in the UK will start thinking that, and it will start happening. And then it will come down lower and lower and lower and lower down the chain until you've just got the information police, haven't you? Just full on information police on every level. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Have you tried them?
Unfortunately.
Have you considered trying the anti-facial recognition makeup?
It does look ridiculous.
I can imagine. That's I know. No, I haven't.
Like triangles on your face.
It's like camouflage paint, you know.
Wow, that's good.
But it works.
No, I was thinking about what was that? I was thinking about getting Mr. Salad Finger masks. That would be better. Just walking around with salad finger masks on.
Going, I like rusty spoon.
Are you here to help me? I have my problems, you know. Yeah. It would be much better than that. So but then they'd stop me all the time.
Yeah.
All of what happened to me is on camera. The police officers were
Do you see what I mean about being a conversational narcissist?
Yes.
No, you're right though. Right. If they've been persecuting, they've been persecuting.
Well, the police were briefed that I was both disabled and autistic. They knew and were fully aware that I committed no crime whatsoever. And because I said I would move my car in my time, which was not blocking, obstructing, or threatening them in any way, I said I will move in my time. It's all on camera. They opened my door, physically assaulted me, beat me, dislocated both my shoulders, held me in custody for 24 hours, and then released me on a false charge of resisting arrest.
To be fair, it's not hard to dislocate your shoulders.
Yes, I know it's not hard to dislocate my shoulders. I'm fully aware, John. But it's still very painful, though, you bastard.
Hey, enough of that. I'll get my
They can't stop themselves.
Julie says they behaved terrible towards you that day, Johnny.
What
when they lined up and stopped you proceeding?
When they lined up and stopped.
Oh yeah, but that's what they do. I mean, the police have behaved terrible to me on a few occasions on auditing, but most of the time they just they just don't want to interact nowadays a bit more. One of them was really I came across this guy who was being given first aid on a bench, and he was clearly needed to be put into the recovery position, and they just left him on the bench like this, and he's got blood on his face, and he's like obviously having a hard time breathing. And I was watching the policeman just sit there on his phone, just like trying to work out what he's meant to do with this guy. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I was filming it all, and he was getting really uncomfortable about me filming him not doing anything. Eventually, they put him so his head was between two benches down on a slope, and couldn't put him into recovery position because they was between two benches. And then because I said you have to change that, they went into this ego thing of being like, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to not put him in the recovery position and leave him there.
They asked him to choke on his tongue,
Yeah, and so I'm dealing with two police then, and they called in about 12 police officers and a couple of riot vans with facial recognition cameras. This all on camera. This all on Rockfin and Rumble. It's not on YouTube because it got taken off YouTube. They formed an entire ring. Right? They moved the guy finally. They finally, when the paramedics came and moved the guy, and he was, by that time they're resuscitating him.
Oh my God.
By that time they're looking for and it was just insane. The police come around in the corner. The duty sergeant just got right up close to me and started grabbing my arm and pushing me and seeing if he could get a reaction. And he didn't get a reaction, but I was recording it all. I'm like, why are you holding my arm? Look, it's just crazy. And he about 2 minutes later started using my name. He didn't know my name, and he started using. So it's just all intimidation.
The word's changed. The word's changed quite a lot, hasn't it?
John, what you got for us?
Right, next we've got Suella Braverman. Multiculturalism has failed.
Well, it depends on what you mean by multiculturalism, because if you're a far leftist on Twitter, you don't know what multiculturalism is. What they think multiculturalism is a bunch of people living together from different cultures, but that's not what multiculturalism is. A multiculturalism is a bunch of cultures coming together in one place and forming separate enclaves and seeing if they can get along. And unfortunately, many cultures cannot get along because they have completely and fundamentally different values. That's just a fact of life.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying I can't have a wife from every continent?
I mean, you could. It would be bigamy, but you could.
Well, hold on a minute.
Yeah, it would be.
Can I ask you a serious question, Johnny? Why would you want multiple wives?
because then this joke has a punchline. No to that. Let's not do any more of that. Yeah, no more wives, please. I haven't had a wife before, anyway, so it's fine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so but multiculturalism has failed, and I mean it's been well recognised. I mean, even David Cameron was making speeches about it in 2011.
Yeah,
you know, so this is nothing new, and you're not telling us anything we don't know. So why Suella Braverman coming out with this? Because it's not gone down well amongst. It's not gone down well against the liberal lefties. But is she going for a run at the leader?
She's going for well, she's certainly trying to run on a populist platform for something. Because this is the type of thing that, a quote-unquote right-wing populist says. I'm not right-wing, as people will know, but it is just, I think, reality. Like I said, that many cultures are completely different. And when you put them together, they seem to form their own enclaves and want to keep their own cultural values and norms. This is just what we observe. This is...
Like in Bristol.
Yeah, people with machetes.
Well, this is it. And I don't think it's wrong to point out this reality. When they form their own enclaves and they want to continue to live by their own ways of life, and they don't want to integrate into maybe a more liberal society's way of life, and I'm not naming any particular people here, how can that work? How can that work when those two cultures are the complete antithesis of one another? It can't. Ultimately, it can't.
You're right.
Unless they are willing to integrate into the culture to which they have joined, it can't work.
Oh, right. Shall we move on?
Go on, then.
Oh, you bugger.
What have you done?
No, because my computer crashed and restarted, I've lost all my notes. It doesn't matter.
Right, I can say about the last subject just before you go on.
Go on.
Just that I live in an area where suddenly there's been a large influx of Indians. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And there's like what you were talking about with enclaves there, Ben. Like, I love these guys. The kids are so polite. The adults are so polite. They're very they work hard. They're part of the community in many ways. We're really nice with a lot of the kids round, and so what we end up is them coming around the door, giving us a knock and giving us some food and stuff. There's loads of obvious. They're a bit. There's loads of Indians who are afraid of dogs, and so my dog walks off the lead, and so they freak out. So I've had two different times where an Indian lady has tried to throw herself out into a road instead of going past a dog without looking. It's just crazy. There are differences in culture, but one of the big differences is they will always form an enclave because they're not going to intermarry. They always, with Indian culture, they will always go home. And nearly every girl around here of a certain age tells me, I say, how are you? What are you up to? And they say, I'm going home and I'm going to get married and I'm going to come back and later on he's going to join me. That's basically the way it goes round and round. And of course, they're not going to interleave. Everybody's got their own cultures. That's why all of this sort of thing doesn't really falls apart under closer inspection. This is all about individual rights. It's all about individual rights and having your options.
Well, I mean, look, there are some cultures and countries on this planet where they see, let's for example, say being a member of the LGBTWXYZ alphabet crew as not just immoral but illegal, and it can be punishable by execution. And if people from those cultures come and live in this country where we are extremely liberal on those issues, and see that we are extremely liberal on those issues, 9 times out of 10 they don't just come round to our way of thinking. Their cultural outlook on those issues remains the same, and there's nothing we can say or do that's going to change that. And that's not to denigrate that culture, or to say that that culture is wrong, or to say that I mean, obviously I don't agree with it, but at the same time, how do you reconcile those two things? And I'm not sure that you can.
The best thing I can say is that I know, and it'll all be anecdotal at the end. Everybody will have their own anecdotal experiences of this, but I can say my life is better for this one Indian family in our neighborhood, who every single person, from father, mother, and all of the sons and the daughter, is really nice to us. And I know that a couple of the kids are just some of the brightest kids. They're really clever. They will go on to do clever things and really do good things. Not everybody, not all of the families are like that. We're all a mixed bunch. Mm-hmm. But there will be negatives and there will be positives still. There will be really positives.
Basically, every Sikh I know is more British than I am. They absolutely love it. They love flying the
British Raj, man. It was amazing. They took over just like whoop. It took 10, 15 years, I think, something along those lines. Richard Grove on Grand Theft podcast does a really good introduction about this, but it took about 15 years to change the Raj into the British Raj, because basically all the administrative structure was exactly the same as what the British do. And so they just basically took over the top level administrative structure, and everything then was just capitulated to Britain straight away. That is amazing. Yeah, because they're the same. We have that link the same. We can trade the same, and that makes a big difference.
Integrate very, very well, because they just love it, and they love the culture, and they love fish and chips, and they love all of the stereotypes. They love flying the flag.
I kicked a Sikh man in the balls once. Kicked him right in the balls.
I better made him Sikh.
It was his own fault. He really did ask for it. Even the police said that he deserved it. So I mean, that's gotta be said. I really mean that. He did.
I mean, if the police are saying he deserved it and you did it, you probably.
And I was not working in any way for the police. I was a night manager at the time. But he was.
Yeah. Sorry. No, sorry. Go on. You were a night manager.
I was just going to say. Yeah, I was a night manager in Cardiff, and he was doing something very nasty to a woman, and we ended up outside. Ooh. And then it ended up into a standoff, and then at one point he just kind of he just turned front ways on me. We were both sideways, and he just it was almost like he opened up his legs for me. And I just kicked him really hard in the balls really quickly, and then he toddled off, went round in a circle, tried to find this girl that he was chasing, couldn't find her, and then got into a taxi with tears in his eyes.
No wonder.
It was a good night. It was a good night after.
The only problem I find with certain Indians is, working as an IT project manager, is the fact that the culture allows them to basically say anything they like in order to placate you. Right, so if you say, "Will this be ready tomorrow?" they will say, "Yes, it will be ready tomorrow." And then when tomorrow comes, they will say, "No, it will not be ready. It will be ready tomorrow."
and John, with that, let's push on through. Come on.
Right. Okay. Well, right. So, did you see the guy who's a zoologist?
Lots of zoologists in the world, man.
Oh, who has admitted 46 counts of raping puppies.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I've just got a note here. It says
very south.
It says pup pedo. So I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. This guy, right, who's been on TV.
Adam says more than that now, John.
Oh my God, more than that. He's been on TV. He's been on David Attenborough's shows and things. There's a picture of him with a crocodile. I don't know what he did to the crocodile, but apparently he has admitted.
How cute is a crocodile?
No, cute crocodiles are not cute. He has admitted to sexually assaulting pups, which is pretty... Oh! Whoa, now we've gone into child porn.
Oh God!
Apparently, says Adam.
I was about to start riffing on Attenborough, and then Adam had to go and say that.
Yeah, that's
right. Okay, so
that makes sense. To be honest, it's just there's sometimes bundles.
Cocker Spaniel.
He started off with young dogs and moved on to young humans. Not good.
I think he probably already started off on the one, and the rest is fantasy and detachment and a way to incorporate grooming strategies as well. If you're surrounded by puppies, who are you trying to attract? Yes.
Everybody likes puppies. Moving on
do you
to
want to come and see my puppies?
Conclusion, isn't it? Because let's face it, most serial killers start by killing a bunch of animals, and then they.
Well, I like to think of them as scientific experiments.
Completely. It's amazing how many of them blame the animal stuff, though. I did one about.
No, I'd like to think of it as scientific experiments of a curious but young mind. That's my excuse.
I have no idea what you're saying, John. And
I know. I have no idea what you're saying.
Have you never frozen a wasp into a block of ice and then resuscitated it? I have.
No. You're a sick man, except that wasps. Wow.
He's Scottish, to be fair.
I froze a wasp. You see all this Frankenstein stuff on TV when you're a kid, and I thought, I wonder if you could if that would work. So I froze a wasp into a block of ice, right? And I put it in the fridge and the freezer and left it there for like 2 days. Okay, so this thing was well frozen. I then brought it out, right? I had it on the draining board and thawed it out, and it was all wet and lifeless, but it was lying in a pool of.
Why haven't you got the violins playing?
It was lying in a pool of water.
Serious.
So I got my electric train transformer, right?
And you fiddled with it.
Took the 12-volt output and gave it a zzz, and it came to life.
Okay, you're a serial killer.
Right? And
it was you're a firearms
you're
officer.
A serial killer.
and it was staggering about, drying out on the draining board when this huge spider came out and snaffled it.
This is just what Scotland's like, though.
Yep.
It's constant, a cycle of devouring.
We're definitely pulling this episode.
We won't pull it. We won't pull it. I think it'll be all right. It just won't be monetized.
Yeah, okay.
See,
Mr. Jungle Griffin says,
£1.
perfectly normal, John. Perfectly normal. Yeah, I didn't do any harm. I didn't do any harm.
No.
So
what to the wasp? But what about to the people? What about the people, John?
I've never moved on to people. Anyway.
Yet.
Still time. There's still time.
Right.
What's behind those flags, John? What's behind those flags?
Don't ask.
Closet.
Don't ask what's behind the flags. Do not mention the bear. Anyway. So, where was I? So, 48 Nigerian nurses and 669 Nigerian applicants have been accused of fraud. The 48 Nigerian nurses are currently working in the NHS, and the 669 were applicants to work in the NHS, and they're accused of fraudulently forging their, what do you call it, their qualifications.
So you're telling me that they're not qualified to work?
They're not qualified. Well, that's the accusation. So that's not good.
Well, you say that, right? And I'm gonna talk about NHS qualifications right now because I'm going to be a bit of a conversational narcissist.
Oh God, here we go.
I am qualified with certificates to deliver and administer Entonox gas and air. Qualified.
Yeah.
I did what was supposed to be a 3-day course in 2 hours, passed it, and got full qualification from the NHS. First of all.
Why?
Second of all.
Gas in air? Why?
Yeah, right, because my wife was incapacitated during pregnancy, and that was the only thing that could help.
Right, okay.
And I had to have a qualification in order to be able to get it on prescription and administer it to her at home.
All right, okay.
Which was very, very annoying, shall we say. But second of all, remember I was an NHS volunteer, people, and John, during
I know that. I know that story. Yeah.
So the NHS contacted me and told me they would give me 6 hours training and then let me loose sticking people with injections for a certain thing.
Whoa! Oh, yeah, straight in, no kissing.
Did you?
Just.
Did you get to practice on oranges?
I didn't go in. I didn't do it.
Oh, you should have done it.
No, they said, because I was an NHS volunteer.
Yeah.
They asked me to become a vaccinator, and they said they'd give me 6 hours training, and then they'd let me loose. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been good though if you'd been trained, because then you would know if they were told not to aspirate.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, right. So let's move on. Mrs. Zelensky, right? Mrs. Zelensky said,
money again.
No. She's. I think we're winding up, people. We're winding up because the noises are starting to come out, aren't they? You know, like the old defence minister being an ambassador in London now and stuff like that. So Mrs. Zelensky said she's not sure if old Vladimir's going to run for a second term. Now it would be difficult because you don't have elections at the moment. But
no, he suspended those.
Yeah. But she says he's not sure if he's going to run for a second term. So I don't think he's going to get the opportunity to run for a second term because he's either going to be in a box or he's going to be somewhere outside the country living it up.
He's going to be in the United States, isn't he? He's going to be in the United States.
Oh, well, Israel's been taunted about quite a lot because he's... I don't think he's proper Jewish, though. I think they say he's Jewish, but I don't think he is. I think he's something along that line, but it's a kind of side shoot. What?
Correct me if I'm
something along the lines. He's got a
side hustle.
We all got side hustles, man. We all got side hustles.
Yeah, but I'm pretty certain he's already got a house in Miami, if memory recalls.
Yeah, well, he's got a few houses all over the place. But
I reckon, I reckon he'll be a very rich man one day.
Oh yeah.
These guys get lifted up because they're in with the club, and while you're on the party boat, this is a really good analogy. While you're on the party boat, you're living the dream. You never come off the party boat though, so he'll always be used. I mean, if he doesn't die of fast-acting leukemia in the next few years, he will be always on TV here and there, giving some thing about what people should do about some crisis. He'll be a talking head eventually,
like Tony Blair.
Tony Blair could risk a comeback.
He's
getting so dire that he could risk a comeback. I mean.
So moving on to other world leaders, Mr. Macron has now, he's obviously taken a leaf out of Rishi's book, and I think these two things are definitely connected because he's now talking about soft zero instead of net zero, right? So he's talking about soft zero because he can't afford to go there too quickly because France is pulling out of Niger.
They are pulling out.
They are pulling out completely.
They've got no choice, have they?
They've no choice. Yeah, they've no choice.
It's either war or pull out.
But they're pulling out in Niger, which means they're not going to get the yellow cake, are they? So
no.
And therefore, he's going to have to rely on fossil fuel to make up the difference if he doesn't get enough yellow cake to keep his nuclear power plants going. So, fait accompli. So he's bringing down expectations on net zero in France, even though the French have done very little towards it.
A new oil field has just been approved here in the UK today, hasn't it?
Yeah, right. Before you carry on, I'd like to read a statement made by Himza, right? So, I'm disappointed. Rosebank has been given...
Yusuf, by the way.
Rosebank has been given the go-ahead. We've raised concerns that the majority of what is extracted from Rosebank will go overseas and not remain in Scotland or the UK. Now, that, just remember that part. And then he says, we're investing 500 million so workers in industry transition from fossil fuels to a net zero future. So, that's a kind of mixed message. Because on one hand he's saying, I'm disappointed that we're not going to keep the oil and use it. And then the next hand he's saying, we don't need it because we're investing in the net zero future. What's the problem? What's wrong with taking out the oil and selling it to make money to then invest in his net zero future. The guy's an absolute Fruit Loop. He doesn't have a clue what he's talking about.
Well, no, none of them do. None of them do. And when I say none of them, I also mean these alleged mainstream climate scientists. They got no idea what they're talking about. And people will say this is a simplistic analogy, but they can't even predict the weather right for the next 3 days. And every time they create one of these models, it's always wrong. So we need to get a bit more inquisitive, shall we say, about the types of people who are trying to tell us all these disastrous things and why they might be saying it. Is it financial? Is it global control, as some people might say? I honestly don't know. But my point is that the people giving us these constantly incorrect things, at some point we're going to have to, say they're crying wolf, surely.
At some point, it'll go super duper all over the place all of the time, and you won't be able to tell what's real or not. And we're entering into the world of 5th generation warfare, and everything is going to be spicy.
I think we're there.
Yeah, well, when Biden took office, this is come up in one of the podcasts. When Biden took office, 175 million IP addresses went online for the Department of Defense, and they transferred it over to a private company. And all of those could be an AI bot that works at 8,000 to 80,000 to 8 million times at the speed of a human does, in just manufacturing a presence, a persona, information, practicing doing that. And all of these machines constantly taking on the identity of people, and then you don't know who's real, who's fake. They can speak every language under the sun. They can work non-stop. Every single bit of information you receive has to be questioned. You won't even know eventually whether the people on the screen are real people and whether or not they're computer recreation of what reality is.
We're getting to that point already, aren't we?
I mean,
so while you're talking about Biden, Hillary's been banging on again about the Russians interfering in the 2024 election, and referring back to the 2016 election where it was stolen from her. But she doesn't seem to understand that the investigation into that election did determine that Russia was involved, but it interfered on the side of the Democrats, i.e. Hillary. So why did she keep banging on about the Russians helping Trump when they didn't do it the first time?
Well, it's once again, it directly ties to what Johnny's just been saying, and what I'm saying as well. And what I'm saying is this: at some point, there is going to come a time where these arbiters and things like online safety bill here are just the elephant in the room precursor to it. These arbiters are going to tell you what the truth is. You are not going to be allowed to question it. And what you've got to do is question right now the type of people that would do that to you and why they would do that to you. If they're telling you cannot have an inquisitive mind, if they're telling you that you can't take one situation and look at its complexities from one side or the other and come to your own conclusion, then they are not your friend and they have something bad planned for you. And that's my opinion.
No, I tend to go along with it, to be fair. Johnny?
Yeah. And hey, the world's turning. I was trying to state it in a tweet yesterday. The world's turning into a point where you don't know, real or not, if what the person on the other side of a computer is going to tell you to do is actually for the work or something else you're doing. It could be anything nowadays. We're entering into a world where we won't even know what's real or fake anymore, and we're right on that. It's not just. It's happening around us now. Yeah, we're seeing it.
I mean, we're getting to the point where people could be sitting here watching this conversation, going back to what you said, and none of us could be real people.
Yeah, trust the people who are around you in your community.
But things would give it away. Things would give it away, like if you had a glitch and one of the bots didn't appear for the first half of the show, that kind of thing.
That sounds like any podcast. So what? Well, are we there? Am I actually talking to real people?
Well, I don't know. Are we? Well,
John,
that's a good.
You appeared from the darkness. You did appear from the darkness, and then you made us all dark for a while, didn't you? You dark soul.
Ooh. Right. There's only a couple of things left. Talking about models, Ben. You were talking about climate models and how bad they are. So the latest climate model now says that we only have 250 million years to stop global warming. I did this on Monday, didn't I?
Well, no, it doesn't say we only have 250 million years to stop it. It says 250 million years will be at the point that the Earth is completely uninhabitable.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, Herman Kahn said in 1974, 1975, around that time, next 200 years, you don't have to worry about finite resources on Earth because we'll be able to mine asteroids, meteorites, whatever. We'll be able to go out really far and into the distance, and eventually we'll be able to leave our solar system. We'll be able to harvest from other planets that have nothing on and aren't going to have a habitat. So don't worry about it. That's what he said.
Well, have you seen? Sorry.
I was going to say, let's take 200 of those 250 million years, and let's say we would hope that technological advances between now and then would have pushed us to that point.
Yeah, but they're coming up with the James Webb Space Telescope, which is completely destroying Neil deGrasse Tyson's career. Okay. Because it's now it's discredited the Big Bang Theory. That's gone. That's debunked. It never happened. The universe,
we're a simulation on a simulation.
Yeah, the universe is at least 26 billion years old, not 13. Right. So things are getting older. Galaxies have formed that shouldn't be formed. So our complete theory as to how galaxies form is completely wrong. And now they're talking about there may be a superfluid in space.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm just going to
What, the ether?
Yeah, exactly. The ether's coming back, baby.
I don't think any of these people have got a clue what they're talking about.
Well, of course they don't. They don't have a clue because it's all theoretical physics, and the word there is theoretical. Because none of their observations. I mean, you make up things like dark matter to make your observations work, and you're inventing something that you can't see, can't detect, and can't measure. It's nonsense. So anyway, so there we go.
Very
anyway, matter is nonsense. So anyway,
it's just hard light. It's just hard light.
Oh, don't be like that about my mum.
So speaking of Neil deGrasse Tyson, whose career's been destroyed by the James Webb Space Telescope, he's also struggling to explain. I mean, why are people asking him? I mean, he comes across as some kind of affable science educator, and he's really a bit of a twat. But why is he trying to explain why men should compete in women's sports?
I don't know. Trigonometry have torn him apart, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, why?
Did you see Neil deGrasse Tyson's doing that?
Yeah.
But Neil deGrasse,
the astrophysicist,
Ghislaine Maxwell, hosting parties around our house. Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm not too sure about him. No.
Well. Remember, we're not going to be those guys. We're not going to assume guilt by association here, people. Right? But at the same time,
I'm going to be that guy. No.
Can be. You're allowed to be skeptical, though, Ben.
I'm joking.
You're allowed to be skeptical.
Everyone can be skeptical. Everyone can be skeptical, absolutely. But he's entering himself, or he's putting himself in these debates because it gets him attention. It's as simple as that.
I know.
And that's why we I say we resist, and we do try and resist having these conversations and these debates, because it's just, in the grand scheme of things, it's gonna, looking at the way the tide is turning on social media, for sure, it's gonna sort itself out. This is gonna sort itself out.
I do think there's an element that the polling agencies actually poll who are the most trusted characters around, and then they help promote that message through those people. So I don't think, it gets him attention, but why does it get him attention, and who puts him into the situation that allows him to get that attention?
But
that I think
these statements he's been making, there he is on Konstantin Kissin and Francis Foster's Trigonometry on YouTube, because
they bump him up.
So Robin's asking in the chat, why aren't there more female Formula One drivers? Well, because they're not good enough.
No, it's because they're stinky.
No,
females are stinky.
It's because they're not strong enough, Robin. Basically, and you can't. Yeah. That's the problem here is when you start talking about men competing in women's sports and women competing in men's sports. The problem is the strength differential is immense.
Yeah, especially neck for Formula One. It's just crazy, man.
But I mean,
you'd have to have a woman. Oh, you could find at least one woman with a massive neck.
Yeah, you'll find one, right? Like Fatima, Whitbread or something like that. But
what to do Formula One?
No, but
she's a bit old nowadays.
I know, but you'll find one or. Danica Patrick used to race. Yeah. She wasn't terribly great, but she was quite petite as well. But yeah, they can't take the G-forces, 4.5 G round a corner in Japan there. But the other thing about women is a man and a woman both reach their peak of physical strength when they're 25, right? And on average, a 25-year-old woman has the same physical strength as a 65-year-old man. That's the differential. Yeah.
And mentally, they're risk averse, so women are less likely to actually. It's natural. It's just one of the traits that women are, because they rear children. They tend to be more risk averse. That's it. You're less likely to have a sample size of people who want to do crazy things like spin around corners at 200 miles an hour and not have like a little tinge in their head, in their brain that is natural.
Exactly.
Nature.
Yep.
This is just anecdotal as well, okay? And this is from the sort of thing that I like, and you know, John, I'm an adrenaline junkie. Mm-hmm. But a lot of deaths when riding rides due to extreme G-forces are more often than not women.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, it's just anecdotal, as I say, but it's extreme G-force rides like Mission Space at Epcot or Walt Disney World.
Oh, I've been on that.
Which is,
it's good.
It's a centrifuge.
It is a centrifuge. It was good. I went on the hard one as well. I probably shouldn't have.
So a woman died, I believe, popped a brain aneurysm on that.
Well, that could happen.
Due to the high G-force. The same thing happened on the Incredible Hulk roller coaster at Universal in Florida. But anecdotally.
Sorry, I get depressed really easy about stories about people dying. So far, this show's been like a roller coaster of depression.
Well, you haven't told them about the Smiler incident, then, Ben, have you?
Well,
he told me about it while we were on it.
I like the self-harm.
I gave John the rundown of the incident at the Smiler at Alton Towers
while we were on it.
Yeah. So 2 trains crashed into one another on it, and 2 women lost their legs.
Decapitated at the knee.
Yeah, no deaths, just some limbs.
Still, I'm not sure if I wanted to. I don't think it's decapitated if it's a leg, is it?
Oh well,
okay. The cap has to be the top. I suppose. Is it? No. I mean, I'm asking a question.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, Johnny. It's amputated. It's amputated.
Yeah. But I didn't think to tell John that until we were on it, because I didn't think he'd get on it otherwise.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So anyway, with that, you really brought the mood up, haven't you, Ben? Thanks for that.
Bring the mood up then.
Well, I've only got one item left. Okay, so a school in England has, and I'm not going to use the term that it was described as. I'm going to call it the pleasure cupboard. Okay. So they've had they have had to adapt a cleaner's cupboard for the use of a pupil who obviously has to, shall we say, relieve his what would you say?
Crank.
Yeah. Spanks the monkey, you know.
Oh, holy hell!
So he has his own cupboard to go and do it in.
Oh. Well. God, I wish school was like that when I was there. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, there you go.
What?
Yeah.
Where is this? Where is this?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay,
as I said,
is this?
I can find it.
You do need to find it. You need to elaborate on this.
Oh, I'll find it.
Can't just leave us at that.
Well, yeah, there's a school in England.
Closet.
It was a former cleaner's closet has been adapted to...
Well, I'm sure the cleaner moved out. he had a mop full of,
I'll tell you what, I wonder if the physics class get down there with a blue light. A black light, sorry.
Yeah.
Robin asks...
Well, no, probably a red light, more likely.
Robin asks, what?
Oh, my God.
Why did he not get a cupboard?
Because you didn't need it in those days, Robin. So there you go.
I am shocked and appalled, John. Shocked and appalled.
Don't be shocked
and I am appalled and shocked. So there you go.
There you go. So I think that's probably it.
Do you think so?
Yeah. What do you think?
Boys,
It's been a slog, but we got there in the end.
Boys, I've enjoyed this actually. Boys and girls, if you've enjoyed this little roller coaster of a show, or 2 shows as it ended up being, I will delete the first part the minute that this ends. But if you've enjoyed it, then don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and most important thing you can do is hit that notification bell and fucking share it. Just share it, because right now we are being hammered by the algorithm, and we need your help.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you for anything. I'm not going to ask them for anything more than that. I'm not going to ask them for donations tonight. I just want them to hit the share button. And help us out.
So I'd like to thank Johnny for coming along tonight. It's been a blast. I've really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, fun, man. Fun.
Yeah,
nice. Thanks for having me on.
Well,
Johnny, tell them where you can find them and
any plugs? Plug yourself.
Yeah, plug yourself.
Pimp yourself like a cheap hooker.
Well, I could do that. I can pimp I can pimp myself out. I'm on johnnyvedmore.com. You can see shows, News Pasty, News Posse. News Pasty is funny. Look at the news. News Posse is a bit of a digital hunting show of a certain type of people into a certain type of people. Mm-hmm. I got the News Pace podcast. I got Audit Everything, where I go around on the street, record everything from buskers to police auditing. I've got a few other different things that I do, include Newshound, which is rocking, goes through the newspaper archives. I'm on newspaste.com. You can find my journalism there, and johnnyvedmore.com. You can find my links there, and come and communicate with me. I'm 2 ways I communicate with people, unless they're shouting horrible, nasty things at me. Then I'm like, I try to communicate with some of those people, but
don't tell them about bad things that people do with puppies. Don't mention that. He's quite a sensitive soul.
My reporting doesn't go around puppy stuff.
No, he's quite sensitive. I think it was probably a good thing that he didn't come on Friday night.
Oh yeah. Fridays are way worse.
Well, Fridays are outrageous. So so I'll put the links up in the description, guys. For those that are asking for them in the chat, I'll stick them in the description of the video. So with that, it's been a great night for me once we got going, and I apologise profusely about the issues at the start. And as always, it's been great for you.
'Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. 'Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. 'Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm shit my way, so you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way, so you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to